building. High priestess in the building, didn't let my fears kill me. Transmuting my pain in that cleanse in the rain. Down out, I was worth it and I conquered my demons. I accepted my purpose and the goddess I became. It's ridiculous, but so let's get into it though. I have a special guest. He's been on the show before. Pheonix Rises. Again, I'm gonna let him tell a little bit about himself before we jump into the conversation. If you guys missed the last episodes, definitely go check them out. You can check them out on Apple. Well, wherever you're listening now, right? Wherever you're listening now, you can go check it out. And then, of course, we have the YouTube channel now. You guys make sure you go to the YouTube channel and represent. You can see the backstage pretty much. And you can see what my guest looks like over there on YouTube. But Pheonix, for those who don't know you by now, tell them a little bit about yourself.
First of all, I want to just thank you for sharing space and time with me. When I first met you, I was just so elated and immediately just knew how phenomenal of a woman you are, spiritually or not. I'm so proud of you. But I am Pheonix. For those that know me by that name, that is actually getting ready to be my government name. That's why. And behind that particular name is the story of my life, rising from the ashes, overcoming things that mythological or even just what that name means really is my life. Outside of that, I'm also the dream witch because I do dream interpretations, the dream realm, or even as I say on my podcast, continue to dream and be a dreamer because dreams become reality. But outside of that, I'm CJ Cummings. And I just love being a part of important and wonderful conversations that help us heal and have healthy relationships throughout life.
That's awesome. You know, because they don't know, but you've been through some shit in this life.
I'm still going through. There's a difference when you're at a healed and enlightened state. I always say when you finally know, and it all makes sense. But until you get there, so for me, and I always tell people I'm protected. Most high, I keep myself in a good state of energy. And it's no issue going through stuff because going through stuff now, I know how to immediately get myself back on the right track. Or I know what the lesson and the meaning behind it is. And I'm like, okay, I needed to see it. But
right.
All my life I had to fight. My favorite quote.
I don't like even though I know, because you will always be the student. If you ever think you're just gonna be the master, that's not it. That's not it. You gotta be okay to be the student. But sometimes I don't like it. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I don't like it. I'm like, really? Do I really need this fucking lesson right now? I guess maybe later I'll look back and agree with you. But sometimes I get pissed off at the team. I'm like,
that's because we hard-headed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's why. That is exactly why. I know sometimes I'm like, man, I literally, especially when you're spiritual, it's like I knew that. But I just wanted to try it out for a moment, and then boom, it smacks you in the face, and it's like, okay, universe, or when your ancestors get on you.
Yeah. They've been kicking my ass lately, and not even kicking my ass. There's a lot of me that was running from a lot of my background with my ancestry, because there's been a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, especially on the women's side. And so you just try to run away from it. You're just like, I don't want to deal with the shit, until, of course, you realize on your path that you're the chosen one and you're the one who's meant to break this shit. And then that puts a lot of pressure on you. Even when you're ready and you think you're ready, you really don't understand the depths of whatever is going on until you start unpacking that shit. And so I am hard-headed, and they know I want to know everything, which they're never going to tell you everything because you won't learn like that if they just tell you. So it's more of coming into where I'm supposed to be, not just on my path, but far as my background and my ancestry. So that's where I'm kind of
like at. Sagittarius says, we count our own certain signs. I know why I align to them, because as a Capricorn and my best friend, of over
Right.
15 years is just like that. And she's so smart and stuff, but the stuff she goes through, a lot of times I'm looking at myself like, I know why we're friends. Because I need to know everything. Like, you know, you
Right.
can't just do this and not know, but you know, I get it. I
Uh-huh.
understand.
And remember I told you last time, my Venus is in Capricorn. So when it comes to
Oh yeah.
relationships,
And my Venus is Capricorn too.
Capricorn when it comes to relationships. So, I do when it comes to that. So I know that, I'm here to break a lot of shit. It is rough because my family line unfortunately has a lot of trauma. So it gets hard, it gets heavy, it gets exhausting, and it makes you just want to be like, fuck this shit. But it is what it is.
And Capricorn Venus, we love hard. I want to say this because
Right.
I have been watching a lot of stuff on social media about Capricorns. And for Capricorns like myself, because I say every zodiac sign under the same sun is not the same, but for the
Oh
most
yeah,
part, I
definitely.
don't always comment because for a Capricorn, it's like you may have very well experienced that. But why did you experience that for me? And not condoning, but for me, I feel like I need to know that you're not going to hurt me because I've
Mm,
already been through that.
right, right,
And when
right.
I invest myself in you, I'm in it for the long run. There's not too much that you can do. I think for me, when it comes to my Venus being in Capricorn, because my moon is in Virgo. And I always say my moon is the reason why people are like, I can't believe you're a Capricorn. You put up with a lot more. Well, Virgos are more detailed. They're more focused
Yeah,
on doing the work. And it's a balance. But when my Venus being in Capricorn, it's always like, no, I want to work this out. Why don't you want to
right,
work this out? Why don't you want to sit and deal with this?
right,
You say you love me and you say that you want to be a part of my life, but you don't want to put in the work. So
right.
I'm gonna try to force. I'm gonna try to force. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to get you to do it. That is from a Capricorn. We're
Yeah,
gonna try to figure out some way around it to get you to learn the lesson. Because what's more important to us, because we do think about the greater goodness. I don't care
mm,
how you feel. That is the mindset of a Capricorn. So
right,
in the love part, it's we want you to learn the lesson. So whether you're with us or not,
right,
you you know what you're supposed to be doing
right.
because the
I think
lesson is more important to us.
I think that's a lot of how I attack relationships is just not I'm not here for the problem. I'm here for the solution. So do you want a solution? Let's jump on the solution. And a lot
Mhm.
of people don't want, they want to sit in the complain energy. And it's just
They
like,
want the
no, I'm not here
comfort.
for that. And people will take that as that you don't love them, that you don't support them because you're not willing to sit in that shit for too long with them. And I'm like, look, feel it, but we're not going to be here all day. We're not going to be here next week, next
Let's
month.
do something about it.
Let's have
Yeah.
some action. But that Virgo is is also why you want to know shit, because Virgo cannot not know. I have strong Virgo. I'm a Virgo rising, and man, that be killing me in this life.
I get torn out of my Scorpio rising. I love, and I love all my earth signs. But if I could, when they ask you if you could switch something, it's not that I would switch my moon, but
Right.
as a Capricorn, I feel like it battles because at one point when the Capricorn's done, they want to be done, but the Virgo comes back in there,
Well, the
and
Virgo is
it's
the
like,
caregiver. Virgo is
yeah.
the fucking caregiver.
So
It's crazy. My moon sign is Gemini, and Capricorns are not emotional either. They're not really an emotional sign. We have emotions, but they're not emotional. So my moon sign is Gemini, and with the Capricorn makes me very
I
like
love Gemini's too. Shout out to Gemini's.
if you see me cry, it's normally run. Like if you see me cry, it's normally like you need to run or get away from me. That's not, it's not a good thing. And that's been a struggle to be, because people take that as I keep everything in, but that's how I process shit. Like everything's not on the outside of me. You really won't know unless I'm telling you, but that's just the way I process. And people, this is why you learn about astrology, so you could get to
Mhm.
understand somebody, because we're always trying to make somebody do something against their nature, right? It's not normal or natural for me to be an emotional person. It just isn't. I'm not going to cry over every little fucking thing. Like me, I'm just like, no. But if I get to that point, I don't hold back, of course. But this is the good thing about knowing about astrology, is you kind of can see how someone ticks. And you can see, instead of trying to push them to become what you want them to become, you can work with them. Like,
And then they can become who they need to be for themselves. Because initially, And this is how I always look at relationships, where it's like, I probably could have still been with that person, or I probably could have got what I wanted, but would they be doing it because they want to do it and they
Right.
need to do it, or they're doing it because I want them to do it? And
Right.
that's not love for me. It's like forcing. This is where, when we get into magic, because I'm gonna do a conversation on sex magic and stuff again on mine, because people have been asking. But
Right.
this is where we get into why you don't play with certain things,
Right.
because
Right.
we all have free will, and once the magic or the spell has run its course, you return back to what
Yep.
was true. And
Right.
if that person didn't truly love you, because we're talking about when that
Right.
person doesn't truly love you, then you're left with chaos, because
Yeah.
you forced someone to do something that wasn't a part of their will.
Right.
And I will never be a part of that.
No, no. I tell people the same, people don't realize how many clients I have turned down because I will not help you do that shit. The ramifications from that shit is everything. And we as practitioners, if you guys don't know, we're in it. We're doing it for you. People think you can't just be a practitioner and do shit, which it is. It's against somebody's free will. It's against somebody's, you are harming them on some level. You're not gonna be free. You're gonna have to take some of that karma off of that too. And in this life, I've been very, very, very conscious of how I work because, of course, past lives, I have a lot of past lives where I fucked up and did a lot of shit. And in this life, I've been very aware to not overstep that boundary and making sure that I understand there's no amount of money that is worth what I will have to go through for the karma,
Exactly.
And I don't, and when people are in those modes, they don't care. They just want what they want right now in this moment. And half of the time, you want somebody who's not really for you.
Or so somebody who actually is meant for somebody else. So the consequence
Right.
of messing with somebody, because I had a conversation with somebody about that. Like, what do you do when somebody's coming to you for spirit? Now, I will say, as a person I am, I do not mind giving you information or
Right.
guiding you towards the
Right.
tool, but me actually doing it, no.
Right.
I've
Right.
never done love work on anybody. I
Right.
have influenced the openness of love, because
Right.
there's a way to go about things.
Right.
But when somebody comes and they've done that, I do feel like a lot of times that is the reason why things aren't working with you and that person, because you're
Yeah.
not their flame, or you're not the person they're supposed to be with. You
Right.
are a part of their journey, and there may as well be shared love,
Right.
but you're not the love that stands the test of time. And that's what people are wanting. It's like that.
Right.
Because what I have learned in my journey now is to flow.
Yeah.
And that has been the special thing about, man, I remember that one person that came in and was, I don't know if I can say that on here, but like the sex, everything.
Oh yeah, we talk about it.
I'm like, I had one the other day. I was like, what happened to that person? Like, I remember this person, and the sex was amazing. We were cool. There was no issues. But it was literally like they were planted into my life, and then it ended, and I don't know where they're at.
Right.
And so in my space right now, I'm like, that was a universal alignment that was meant to happen to show me
Right.
there is a possibility of love, but they weren't meant to be there. That wasn't meant to be anything more than what it was. And when we get on that page, I think life will be a lot better. But
Definitely.
it was amazing.
You can't force it, and you shouldn't want to force it. I do the same when it comes to my thing is when someone comes to me for love, I work with them on strengthening communication first. Because without communication, you ain't getting shit. You guys got to be able to talk. And that's I would say that's 99% the problem with love issues. Okay, y'all. So communication is it. Assuming, not speaking. So it's like, let's work with that. Sometimes we work on, igniting the passion or bringing that passion back because you can do that. That's not forcing, that's just igniting or getting you back to a space where you guys had that passion for each other. But again, it's not lasting. And that's what I don't like about a lot of practitioners. They don't explain that part. They won't tell people that it's not going to last. So you're going to have to come back if you don't do the work. And I tell people, if you don't do the work, you will be back here because it ain't going to fucking last.
Well, let's keep it real. And I've said this on my podcast. I say this a lot lately, is because, and this is nothing to nobody. You very well may have spiritual gifts. The issue that I have is a lot of people are using things for profit. And that is because, yes. So energy exchange, there's always this conversation. I've had this battle of you're always supposed to be getting something. And I said, that's not true. Because my life is blessed. I'm provided for, things like that. I don't feel a need to make my spiritual gifts a profit at this moment. That doesn't mean that it's not going to change. But the thing about it, when spiritual practitioners are doing that, is because, and somebody said this, I can't remember what video, because they want you to keep coming back to them. So they're not, it's just like with the medical industry. Don't get me started on that.
Man.
They're never going to put out a cure because it's going to take from them. So they want you to get a little bit healthy, find a little bit of love, but they're doing it in a way that they know that it's going to fail so you can come back, so they can do more. And it keeps you coming back. That's not in love. That is not love, especially helping them. Because I start off, I like how you said that. I start out in a place of healing. The first thing I do when giving messages, the first thing I start is in healing. Because a lot of times your true love, more than likely, is yourself. I've seen a lot of times with people that they're not meant to have a true love in this lifetime. Their cycle is loving themselves and going through that. And it's so interesting because they're looking for these things, and and people like Mother Teresa, whatever. And I mean, there are other stories, but with people, I feel like a lot of times, like for me, I feel like I have this pulling where I'm meant to love the world. And so you have to be in a place of healing, especially in a relationship, because whether it's meant to be or not, for the positive aspect of love, for everything, there's a yin and a yang. So if you're not dwelling in the right state of healing, I always use the example, The Craft, where she was messing with love and stuff, and and the person became obsessed. Or a person can, you can become a slave to something when a person is not in the right mindset or healed or things like that. And so you just got to be careful.
You definitely can fuck with somebody's mind. And again, it can, I always warn women, because it's like, I know you're going to go to whoever you go to because I'm not doing it for you. But I always warn them, this person can turn violent on you, and it can get very fucked up very quickly because you are basically putting them in a mental prison. And if this person doesn't want you, that can be bad. They could be like, they can't leave, but they're going to make your life very fucked up. That ain't going to stop them from cheating either. So if they don't want to be there, they're still going to cheat, but not going to be able to leave. What's the point of that?
Because you don't know who's protecting them, or you don't know who their ancestors are. And you may very well find somebody, and I always say this, because we're all gifted. You want to go to war, go to war. But there's always casualties, and my thing is, you don't know who's protecting them in their spiritual arsenal, and you may very well get what you get, but it will come with a lot because they're fighting for, as we walk blindly, or we're not ready for what we're supposed to do, or we're lost, we still have angels and things like that. People that are looking out for us, physical and spiritual, that we don't realize that may very well be, and they're coming for you. The question is, how strong are you? You went and did this. How strong are, and so it's just not, it's always, I said to me, and personally for myself, when I started the journey of twin flames and things like that, and I will use just an example without saying the person's name or whatever, I did want to do something, though all of that wouldn't allow me. There was a different way that I went about it, and I focused more on myself, and that's where I realized that a lot of my healing and my love was with my mom. And I don't even think people think sometimes that maybe certain relationships, not in a disgusting way, people, but sometimes the relationships with your family in this realm could have been different in another. And I do kind of feel like the love of my life was my mom. She's
Right.
gone now, but you know, healing with that and realizing that maybe it's not them, and it's
Right.
not saying that they're doing, but maybe it's not them, maybe it's you, and start working on karmic ties and things in regards to your family and your ancestral healing, because you could be reliving
Oh yeah.
lives that were tied to certain people that are family. And all the time you're thinking, oh, it couldn't be because they're family. It could very well be,
Right.
and so for me, healing is important because then it makes sure that there's nothing standing within your own self and your own journey that's blocking that.
Right. It's trippy. It's trippy. It's so true. Um, what I've seen on this path, like not even just with me, it is our relationships with our family can be the different dynamics. Now, personally, I have not seen any of my family members where I was in a relationship with them in another past, in a past life. But we've had other relationships. We've been sisters. We've been,
Well,
we
no, that's what I mean. That's what I'm
yeah,
speaking to.
I've been the mom too, and stuff like that. So your dynamics definitely, yes, change. And you don't understand until you start going in there. You don't understand, why are you here? Is it that you owe? What's the lesson? Are you replaying out something from the past? And the good thing is once you start tapping into that, you can't answer that. Like right now, personally, I am working through family ancestral shit, especially on the women line. So, and at least five generations, at least five generations of women that I know of have all gone through whatever main relationship, never remarried, and basically died alone and miserable. And so I'm like, that ain't gonna be me. Like,
No.
this ain't gonna be that. This is the generation where we're about to knock it out. But again, you don't realize that, and then me being who I am, I started to look at that like, wait a minute, I was going down the same path. Because before I jumped into the spiritual path, I was like, fuck love. I don't need love. That was my energy. Like, I'm good because I'm actually really good alone. I could chill. I could be alone. I don't need someone in my bed. And I've made that my thing. But that also could backfire you when you're like, you don't need nobody, because we all need somebody. We all need people in our corner. So you could go too far to the left, which you don't need no one. And then, there's always that balance of where you're
Mhm.
supposed to be. So when I started to really realize that, it was like, oh shit, I don't want to die miserable and alone like all the rest of them. Like, nope, we need to heal that. So I'm working with my ancestors now on to heal the mother wounds, basically, and to make it like this is it. And it's crazy because I feel like me and my daughter have already changed things
Mhm.
a lot, but there's so much more to go. You really got to go in, and it's tiring. Like, so I was telling you earlier, it's tiring. It could get a lot, but once you go through it, you can understand. So like this path, dating hasn't really been focus for me to be dating. One, if you don't even know who you are, how are you opening up to date? It's
Right.
like most people are just falling in line of what they think is supposed to happen, or you're supposed to have a relationship, you're supposed to get married, you're supposed to have kids, you're supposed to do this, right? There's a lot of societal bullshit that people hold
I was
on
just
to.
talking about that earlier.
And a lot of times people, again, you're trying to force something that may not be for you in this life. If you learn how to flow, if you learn how to flow, it is going to get better for you, because you're not going to be trying to control what's going on. One of my biggest things, because I'm a control freak in this life, was to surrender and understand that I have very little control of a lot of shit that happens. Yeah, you can make some shit happen in your life, but there's some other shit, some bigger shit that you have no control over, and you just kind of have to be okay with that and say, all right. So relationships, I wanted to say real quick, I had a lady who came to me after she did some crazy shit to keep a man, right? Because most
Mhm.
people come to me after they done fucked up some shit to help them get out of it. And
As they always do.
my ancestors do not let me help everyone, y'all. So if they tell me no, it's a no. But they did allow me to help her. But it was like when I read the energy, they basically said like she basically fucked up where she stopped that person from being with someone they were supposed to be with. You know, like that destiny and fate kind of tie. You know, when you're destined to meet love, that's different. When you're fated to meet that love is different. And she basically interrupted that and made, you know, did the work to bring him. And then they had a sucky ass relationship. Of course, he's not going to want you just because you did the spell. He's not going to be all in love with you. You got him, but he still don't want you. So that's the biggest thing. And I mean, her shit was all fucked up to where she even that her spell work exploded. The whole house caught on fire. The whole house caught on fire.
Yeah, I've
Killed the
seen,
cat.
I heard that before.
Poor cat died in the fire. So your familiar, yes. So when we say don't play with fire, we are not just saying that shit for no reason. And I told her actually what Spirit had told me. I was like, I cannot help you with your karma. Your karma is still coming, regardless to if you reverse what you did or not. And she was just like, she couldn't even like understand what I was telling her. And I was like, yeah, I might help you break it, what you've done, but that doesn't take away your karma. You still gonna have to pay that. And Spirit will be coming for you for that.
And that's really what people don't realize about energy exchange. You only hear the part about giving to get this. No, there are other energy exchanges, or even the point that where I tell a lot of people, if you plan on having kids, do not be doing stuff to people, because the other part of that is you may be able to stop it from happening to her, but if it's not paid, it's just going to pass on to someone else. Right. And that's the thing that people don't understand. Well, I did all these horrible things. Side note, when you see racist people, and if they're dead, it just passes on to the descendants. And that's what people don't understand. Like, this is why you don't mess with stuff, because yeah, you may not be affected, but the universe knows what your heart truly desires. Right. And that's going to be the payment. Because
for my demons, I accepted my purpose, and the goddess I became.